Here we are live. We usually don't go live because nobody's listening. But we're going to go live today anyway, just because there's something important to say. And that thing that is important to say is life is too short. People are stressed today. A lot of people are worried about things going on in the world right now. There's a lot of pain and suffering. And there is sort of a chance that there will be more pain and suffering in the future. That is why during times when the desired reaction is to run, to hide, to be afraid, to scurry away from things, we need to do the opposite. We need to do what is intelligent. And what is intelligent is not to give up on life, it's not to run, to hide in a corner, to think that everything is going to be terrible. It is to live fully, to talk with people, meet new people, share our thoughts and wisdoms and insights so that we can all begin to see the beauty in this world instead of seeing the ugliness all the time. I think somewhere along the line, we all became fighters. Instead of doing anything in the world and enjoying it, we started to have to fight against people who would keep their feet on our necks and totally oppress us. It's time, I think, for us to move beyond that. Yes, we do have to stand up for ourselves, or things will just get worse. But if we are not enjoying our lives right now, there is no use of standing up for ourselves. I think we have been given the false idea that in order to struggle for truth and justice, we have to look very serious and never laugh, never have fun, work hard, strive for only that, become martyrs, die to life, share the pain and share the sadness of other people in order so that we can be good people also. But the truth is that we don't have to. And what is important is not the way we feel. What is important is what we do. Do we work to help other people? Do we provide a center, a place of love, of peace, and of kindness that comes from within our hearts towards our friends and neighbors, people from other cultures? How do we behave? I think sometimes feeling miserable and feeling sad is a way of not being able to do anything. We feel like we paid our dues because we feel miserable. We're feeling the pain and suffering of the oppressed. But in truth, that doesn't help anything. It just helps the pain and the suffering and the oppression spread more. We need to destroy that pain and suffering. And the way we do it is through joy, through hope, through faith, and through celebration. Celebrating the world as it is and ourselves as we are. And my question is this: are you willing to join me in this type of celebration? Because you see, what I'm talking about sounds simple, but it's actually turning against a whole paradigm that we have been given and we have swallowed for the last 400 or 500 years at least. And that paradigm is this either or thinking. It's a one or it's a zero. So we have to go on one side or the other when we don't. And we have something added to the paradigm now. It is a false way of thinking about what the middle is. The middle does not mean that we don't make decisions or that we don't do anything to work in the world. The middle means that we are at a place of peace. We are at a place where we can see both sides from the distance and we can choose what direction we need to go in. It doesn't mean that we're trapped in the middle when we're trying to please everyone. No, it means that we're seeing from a higher point of view. and making more intelligent choices. That's what we need today, friends. We need to be able to make intelligent choices. And in order to do this, we need to actually re-educate ourselves, because our system has educated us to the point where it's hard to see truth. It's hard to experience unconditional love because most of us have never received unconditional love. If you think you received that unconditional love, just find someone who you think cares about you and say something that will really upset them a few too many times, and you'll find out how much they care about you or how much they love you. Do you realize that there have been people who have disowned their own children because they were gay or lesbian or bisexual or transgender? They have disowned their own children, where they married a person who was the wrong race or color, or they were part of a religion that the parent did not agree with. So if they cannot love their own children unconditionally, who can they love unconditionally? And these people stand out as an extreme in some cases, yes, but it happens with a lot of us. Friendships are ended. People quit jobs or are fired from jobs. Relationships break up because the person that we have that relationship is not behaving in a way that makes us comfortable anymore, and we withdraw our love and compassion from them in order to make them behave the way that we would like. And if they continue not to, we cut them off altogether. And that is not unconditional love. And all of us are subject to being cut off, because in this world, it's almost impossible to find that type of love. So we look at it through religion. We talk about gods and goddesses who love us unconditionally, but since we started that, the religious people have even turned that around. They made the love of these gods and goddesses unconditional by making their behavior treacherous and evil, pretending that they love us when they're willing to burn us in fire and kill us and destroy us because of their love for us. That is diabolical and demonic. Things like that don't happen. And as I said, it is the behavior that counts more than words. What does the song say? More than words are all you have to do to make it real. Then I know just how you feel and that you love me. That's where we find love, through action. That's where we find support, through action. The words are not the support. Doing what will help us, doing what is right, doing what is real is the support. And so I think we have to move from a place, especially in various religions and spiritualities, where the doing becomes more important than the talking, where we can watch what the person is doing in order to tell if they are true, if they are just, if they love us and care for us or not. More than words are all you have to do to make it real, then I'll know just how you feel. That is something that's missing today. So we try to work in order to bring about such kindness, such understanding, such patience, and such love in various ways, through the readings, through the books, through all the things we put up on our channel. We try to stretch the person's mind and the person's imagination so that they can see beyond the paradigms, you see. It's not easy. It's very hard. Very few people want to take that long walk, that long stretch that it takes to see beyond their paradigm. Many feel comfortable. They're locked into a way of thinking and being and seeing, socialized that way. When they get a chance to step out of it, many are afraid. They need somebody in the system to tell them how to free themselves from the system, and most of the time that just doesn't really work. They need the archetypes that they're used to looking at, the ones who are familiar, the singer who sings rock and roll and moves and dances and is dressed a certain way, or the person who sings opera who is dressed a certain way, the jazz musician that looks like a certain type, all of these archetypes that we have created are what will help the person be willing to listen. But the twist, I think, that the universe has to offer is this. Sometimes we get the opposite of what we're looking for, and that is what will set us free. And we have a karmic choice. We can override our karma and listen to that opposite and go off in a different direction, or we can ignore it and we can stay in the same direction, and we will have missed our blessing from the universe. I say universe, but I am meaning whatever name that we have for the higher power, God, goddess, creation, creator. It doesn't really matter, you see, because we're all talking about the same thing. Most religious institutions won't say that. They don't want to lose followers, and most of them are trapped in the same type of sociological box that I've been talking about, the either or ones where only one way is truthful and one deity is the only one, and blah, 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 blah. So many of the leaders in those institutions who have never experienced life beyond the dualism, they themselves do not know what I'm speaking of. They themselves are ignorant of the power that they have. The power that they have to strengthen themselves. Excuse me, I've dropped something and I'm bending over to pick it up. To strengthen their communities and to move beyond other people's mystical experiences to their own. A lot of our religions were started by someone who had a great mystical experience and who connected with the divine. And then someone wrote it down, and we read about their experiences, and we convince ourselves that we have had the experience because we've studied their experiences enough, when we haven't had the experience. You may ask, and I accept that fully. How do you know what experiences they have? I don't. I just know the end of the experience. Because every experience, according to where one was born, race, gender, ethnicity, sexual orientation, socialization, is going to be different than the previous one. But the end will always be the same. And that end is an initial feeling of joy and relaxation and the ability to see the world as it is, but to still be able to tap into an underlying river of joy that is always there. And when we tap into this joy, we move out of ego self to eternal self, and there's nothing but peace and love, to the point where we have to step back into the door of ego sometimes in order to communicate with each other and be with each other, because we will seem like mad men and women if we don't. We will be out of our heads, because in truth, we will be out of our heads, and the universe will have become our brain and our thinking apparatus. We won't be just out of our heads, it will also be in our heads because you see, we exist in it, it exists in us. So, as the old earth and the fire people said, paint a pretty smile each day. Loving is a blessing. Never let it fade away. It's all about love. Build yourself a true romance with what? With the beauty that surrounds you. And later on, it says, if there ain't no beauty, you gotta make some beauty. Feel it. That's all that it is. Being awake, being enlightened, being happy and joyful. It's about feeling the beauty that surrounds us to the point where it is so powerful and loud that all other things fade into the background, and we are free. We have returned to the source from which we have come. We realize that we are timeless beings, not born or not dying, just moving our awareness from one place in the fullness and grace of the universe to the next. That is what this universe offers. And that's what these lessons and these teachings and these speeches from our channel and our new podcast about unbelievable things here on YouTube will offer. Thanks for joining us today, and we'll be doing more of these more often. Please subscribe, hit the bell, help us become monetized so we can make slicker looking videos, even though what's really important to us is the message passed on, not the glitz and not the glamour. Namaste, everyone.